gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Welcome, everybody. We're back to Spin the Rack, and the whole crew is here. 2017. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka. I got to tell you guys, I'm glad everybody's here. I want to say thank you for finally making it, because you know how hard it is for us to make it through a year.
We
made it through this year. So, look,
I
want to give a heads up.
Happy Christmas for everybody like me. If you're Orthodox, happy Christmas. And we got a white Christmas in New York, too. Excellent.
Sweet Christmas. I don't know what to say about that. But 1, 2, 3. PD is in the house. Kyle's in the house. And today we're going to talk about that. One of the biggest subjects of the year. One of the most traumatic subjects that have occurred that's just totally transformed the comic book industry. It's a tsunami. All I gotta say is DC stomping on Marvel.
Okay, no, wait a second.
This is exactly what I told you about, man. This is exactly what I told you. I'm gonna let you get that one, and that's the end of it. Okay?
We're talking about the fact that, what was it? Last year they started Rebirth, and they had the New 52, which didn't really necessarily work out. But then we got into Rebirth. They hinted at the Watchmen coming in, and they've had success.
They've executed their plans.
Oh, we got that.
They've had multiple issues. The number ones are rocking. The stories are holding.
No one's discounting.
And Marvel and
no one is discounting. Look,
yeah.
I was just at Bulletproof Comics the other day, and
Bulletproof Brooklyn.
Okay, and I'm talking. Both stores are in Brooklyn. Anyway, so I'm talking with the proprietor. I'm talking with Hank. Okay, and he's
shout out Hank. Shout out.
All right, let's get it.
You were really asking for it, man. So he's saying that, look, he's saying what a reversal it is, that at one point he couldn't keep the Marvel stuff on the shelves and the DC stuff was just sitting there, because everybody's talking about DC Rebirth. They're forgetting about DCU, because the whole thing with DC, the New 52, that fizzled out, after about a year.
Yes.
Okay, then they kept, they still had some steam, the leftover steam. They pushed on. They were like, what's the next initiative? Okay, we're gonna go DCU. DCU was a complete and utter failure for them. The books are just stacking there. They had Convergence, that didn't work over for them. And then Rebirth comes out. All credit due to them. The marketing plan, that they had, actually seems like DC for once sat down and actually said, hey, how do we sell some comic books?
Yes.
And actually did it. I was like, okay, fine. He said the great irony, however, is that now he can't move any of the Marvel stuff. And I said, we both agree. What's the problem? Marvel's doing exactly what DC did. The characters are unrecognizable. They keep making too many damn changes. You're picking up a book, you have no idea what's going on, and yet nobody's reading, or people are not reading as much as they used to. What did DC do to get themselves back? They went back to what they were doing before New 52. More of the characters are recognizable. You had to kill off the Superman that they made for the New 52. They had to get rid of him and bring back the other guy.
That's that's telling the world that it changed. They're saying, even though it's not, they didn't change, it's still Superman's there, and saying another Superman died, he looks the same. It's just saying to the world that something happened in New 52 that's gone.
Yes.
And now we have Rebirth. And it's just, we've been going the fact that all the change with Marvel, they had what was it, the clone conspiracy, and they actually had to do another notice to say, hey, everybody, we had the clone conspiracy out. Like, Dan Slott had to let everyone know again that this was happening. So it's like they hint on the old thing. They had Civil War II. And Civil War II is doing numbers, but none of the books that are connecting to it are anyway.
It's crap. It's just, too many. At the end of the day, it's just crap. The Hulk is gone, Rhodey's gone, and people like these characters. And even though we expect them to come back, I didn't ask you to get rid of these guys in the first place. That's number one when it comes over to it. Then you have to look at the whole scam. It's like, what is the end result in this? Because okay, what are we going to do? All the heroes are going to fight. They're going to have some disagreement. They're going to fight. And then we're going to have some sort of thing where we don't know who's who. We got the Skrulls coming in. Now we're going to have the clones coming. It's the same stuff. Mm-hmm. Marvel is usually much, much better at marketing and selling their characters. I always say that DC has the better characters. Marvel usually has the better stories. I never thought that I would come over and say, you know what? DC not only has the better characters, but they're marketing them better too. And Marvel is just
Didio and Jeff Johns.
Wait a second. I would also like to add that They not only did one Rebirth #1, but
Yes.
they did 2 of each issue. So I'm just like, didn't I just get Wonder Woman Rebirth 1? It's like,
And they
didn't
did
it
two
go-
number. They didn't do just. They did
It's a-
Wonder Woman Rebirth, which was a one-shot. That was your #1. That was your #1.
exactly
And then they
it.
said, okay, now we're gonna do Wonder Woman #1 for the regular series.
Exactly.
There were 2 copies of
Yes.
each of those things, and of course
They
we're gonna
Marvel.
and of course you're gonna buy them. That was. That was all new, all different DC.
All right, but gentlemen, but we got to talk about also. Let's get serious. The storylines have gotten better. They've hired better writers. They brought in for Deathstroke. They brought in Priest for Deathstroke, right? And he's made a difference. You know, what is it? The Young Animals, the Mother Panic. Those comics seem to also be showing up also on the list.
Marley Zarconi is a very solid writer. So I think she would have done well regardless of what the situation is. But good that she has the climate right now
Right.
to be able to write and to get some looks at it. But for me, the biggest thing is I read a Batman comic for the first time in years.
Which
I've read
one,
a
though?
The most. I was reading the
Tom
story.
King, the one of those?
I actually just read the most recent issue. It's like a one shot. It's like not really so much a one shot, but it's like a day in the life type thing. He has to take Catwoman back to prison, and she's like, "Look, don't take me back tonight. Take me back in the morning." And they go off and they do some stuff, and eventually, they consummate their feelings at the end of it. But I was like, that's a solid issue. That's an issue that you could just pick up. You could give that to anybody. He's like, okay, fine. Let me see how it is. And before that was him going through they're actually trying to rebuild Bane as a major villain for him. And I
did
really
see
enjoyed
that,
Bane
yeah.
as a character. And I thought they were just going to do it, and that was the end of it. But they were like, no, there's more to this. I was like, okay, fine. So for the first time in a long time, I'm actually willing to read a Batman comic.
So
That's saying a lot.
What comics were those? Shoot it out for our listeners, our subscribers, so they know which ones to pick up.
So pick up the last 3 months worth of Batman issues. Batman, not Detective. Haven't been reading Detective, but Batman. Okay, those things have been pretty good. I don't know where they're gonna go now because they're gonna have him be leader of the Suicide Squad, and you still have some stuff that's crap out there. You'll have Justice League versus Suicide Squad,
but
which should have never
overall-
happened.
But they have
Overall,
that's another crossover. So they have a lot of things happening.
With 16 #1 issues.
There's a lot of things that are happening that seem Marvel was doing.
Right, but the articles that have been writing in Vulture and in some other publications, they've been bringing up the fact that more people are coming in. They're connecting some of the characters they have on the DC with also some of the stuff on the CW, and also they're trying to make them, make it more friendly for the casual fan to come in, particularly also.
But they usually have their own comic. They usually have like the Flash show, and the Flash show will have its own comic.
right.
Along those type of lines. But yeah, right now, I mean, they're still not there yet. It's still very out of sorts in a lot of different ways, but it's better than what they were doing before. And it's also helped by the fact that Marvel has decided that Iron Man is not going to be Tony Stark, Thor is not going to be Thor Odinson, the Hulk is dead, there are 2 different Hulks running around. They have really, really helped them in that nature, because at this point now, DC is actually somewhat recognizable, where Marvel is like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to throw money at something I don't know what's going on.
Wait, but basically what you keep saying to me, and this is what I'm hearing, but I'm not hearing something wrong. Peter, you enlighten me on this. But basically he's telling me DC is getting there because Marvel is doing bad. It's just not that Marvel,
No.
not
I said that
DC
Marvel is
doing-
helping them out.
Okay, helping them out.
Marvel's definitely helping. Look, what do
DC is slamming them down, bodying
if you
them.
have a movie,
Wow!
if you have a film, and the film has no competition, and the film has enough promotion and enough marketing, it's going to make money. Now, if the film has competition, yeah, we expect it may make money. It's not going to make as much. This is comics. Comics is a niche market. You have a set number of readers. Look, I haven't seriously read a Marvel comic in 6-7 years, because they've made so many changes and the storylines were so elongated. I was like, look, what Civil War? I'll wait this out. What Skrull Invasion? I'll wait this out. After a while, I'm just waiting.
Well, did you go back and read Skrull Invasion?
I read the Black Panther stories. Because I was.
Oh, okay,
but then
yeah,
after a
yeah.
while, I was like, look, this is just, especially with the situation where they all come off the ship and these guys are running. I'm like, these guys have been gone for how damn long? After a while, it becomes like, look, I can't wrap my head around it because it's such a ridiculous notion at the end of the day. Yeah. The concept, however, I didn't think the concept was bad, but in order for it to work, these guys would have to been gone like 15. Some of these guys have been gone 15 years in order for it to make any sense. It just wasn't there.
I would say the issue I had was Bendis was calling them Skrully. Somebody's looking kind of scrully, and I was like, that's enough for me not to look at it.
Yeah.
It sounds, but those things sold. You had that, and they had a big, what what's that Secret Wars thing that they did?
Yeah.
And all that stuff was selling, and they had multiple crossover within crossover,
But
new number ones.
I think Secret Wars sold very well for them because people thought, okay, this is going to be the coda to all this mess that's going on. This is going to tie everything up with the bow, and now we can go forward. Thor will be Thor, this, that, and the other. I think the only person now who has more stability than he's had in some time is Daredevil, and they'll probably end up jacking that up anyway. Yeah. But after Secret War, they were like, no, all new, all different, not a hoax, and it's like
not
just
a lie, not a hoax.
Marvel Comics, stop.
So gentlemen,
stop.
So what do you think? That's more corporate, or is it just that the writers are just getting it wrong?
I don't know. No, Marvel never strikes me as very corporate.
So
This is like it's a mixture between the writers, editorial. I think PD and I discussed this in one of the comic reviews, where it used to be, if you go back around Image Time, if you were the artist brought in all these guys, all the readers, the artists were the rock stars. They could do whatever the hell they wanted. It didn't have to make sense because these books were selling 1 million copies each. If the stories were good or bad, they were selling 1 million copies each. Now you have guys, you have you'll have who's on Unworthy Thor right now?
Oh, I don't know. Is it Aaron still?
Yeah, yeah. A guy like Aaron brings his own audience. They will let him do whatever the hell he wants to the point. They're spinning off. They have Thor and then Unworthy Thor, something that would have been totally like, hey, nobody would have thought of it. But he's selling to an audience that doesn't really get Thor to begin with.
Yeah. So
he brought in he brought in these people. The guys like me who read Thor, we're not reading. Okay, we're not reading. And then those people who came in, they're kind of like, all right, this is a nice little jaunt, and we're gone. So that's where your numbers start to sag. So on and so forth. But they're now it's the writers, okay? So the writers don't have to have as much editorial direction. They're like, look, I'm bringing in all these numbers. I'm bringing in 100,000 readers a month. I'm going to do what the hell. I'm going to write my own story, whether it's beneficial to the character or not. They're just allowed to see that vision. And
but isn't DC also doing the same thing, or are they still?
DC has that corporate stuff going on where you get somebody, literally some old dude in like his bed in a mansion, like, Superman needs to take off those trunks. I've always hated them.
But
if you go to, they have the corporate system because they have like the heads like Didio and Jim Lee and Jeff Johns. But at the same time, they didn't do what they did on Rebirth. They're like, let's get rid of this Superman. Let's get George Perez off of this. Let's get Rob Liefeld off of this. Let's get him off of this. But they were firing people while it was going on. Where this time it's like, we have time to figure it out. And we won't be doing the mass firings and mass cancellations. So it's like they planned it out a little better. Where Marvel's more, they're like, I guess like the Marvels, like 70s had more writer editors. Where they're like, we're doing these longer stories, which was Spider-Man is he's with a genius now and he has this tech company, and it's like this story is going on for like, I don't know, what are 16 up to like maybe 20 issues so far, and it's not ending. So it's like they're in a stage where they're blocked, or we can't really go in and just say, I'm going to pick up a Spider-Man comic, it's going to be good. It's like, I don't know. It's still that same, like a long Thor story, long Jane Foster's Thor.
And they're often the thing that DC used to get accused of was their characters are each like in their own universes. Even if they did intersect, they were like their own interview. Now with Marvel, it feels like that. It feels like Thor is in his own world. They're not superheroes anymore. They're always fighting each other. And even though that was a staple of what in Marvel, the Marvel heroes were most dangerous when they stopped fighting each other. Okay, Loki was in the clear until they realized, hey, wait a minute, this is your fault. And he's like, oh damn, I almost got away with it. And now they're consistently fighting each other. They're consistently at odds with each other. They're consistently in their own worlds while this is happening. Do we really need another? We just got finished with Civil War. Now we got Inhumans versus, Inhumans versus X-Men. And again, it's taking place in its own world. That's the mutant and human world as opposed to the superhero world. And Marvel used to be really, really well connected with stuff. That's why something like Secret Wars was great, because you were bringing these guys together who are already together, and all these things were going to play out. But now it's just, okay, Secret Wars sold, and none of the other books sold because we know it does not matter what happens outside of this. And Secret Wars was up. If you read everything, that was up.
But it was so many miniseries within miniseries, and it was like it felt like they were trying to just say, we're knocking out DC's New 52. It was like they did so many different miniseries within there, connecting to old miniseries. It was like, is it gonna? But it felt like they were selling. So it's like, are they gonna wipe out DC because it's just like doing event after event, and then somehow the Rebirth thing with the Watchmen, just a hint of it, because they haven't even done the story yet. So they still have that. They're like we
Petey
know that
nailed-
they have the ace.
And
they
Petey nailed it
haven't-
on the head. He's like, look, we can do all these number ones right over here. We're going to sell 2 of these every single month. We're going to make money. And then as soon as we see like a hit, it's like, what was this, 60,000? What is this now?
100,000.
59,999. Okay, hit them with the Watchmen. And the numbers are going to go right back
Yes.
up. Everybody's looking forward to what? Yeah, we want to see Superman fight Dr. Manhattan. Let's see what the hell happens right over there. And they've done a good job. What did it? They showed a little leg. They took it right back.
But we've been complaining about DC like since we started doing the show. We've been complaining about.
And they're doing right now. They're doing
Hey,
right.
look,
And they're doing multiple episodes.
I am
It's
not
just-
going to.
They've lowered the price.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. They are clicking on all cylinders right now. The biggest thing that
So
gets me, however,
funny.
is the irony that it's not like they're outpacing Marvel because Marvel's telling good stories and DC's telling better stories. Marvel has decided, hey, we're going to do exactly what DC did wrong.
Yes.
But this is the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
This is what you're saying. You're only saying they're better only because Marvel is not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
No,
Yeah,
no.
clearly.
We said
They're
marketing.
doing
We
the-
said
they're
marketing.
Haters!
DC is doing the right stuff right now, and they are being aided by the fact that Marvel is not. Okay, that does help. But look, it would be something. We'd have a totally different show right now if Marvel was telling good stories and DC was telling better stories. Then the conversation we'd be having, like, okay, well, did you check this out? Well, check this out, and then we'd be like comparing the stories. There's nothing to compare. DC right now is doing everything right on their part, and Marvel is. I have no idea what. I can't even call it wrong. Okay, it's just it's like totally confused at this point from people who seem to understand their characters a lot better, especially since they have so much going for them in terms of the films. And when you pick up an issue of Iron Man, you're like, who's this chick in the suit? You know, what's going on? That should never be the case.
All right, so then what can Marvel do to bring it back in? I mean, what can Marvel do?
Well, I think they were trying. They other problem is that when they were doing, I think with the X-Men, they tried to rebrand it, saying X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue, and Jean Grey Iceman. And it's like, okay, they're gonna try to bring it to the Jim Lee stage where it made a lot of money. It's like, no, it's the same teams. Magneto is leading this team, and these other characters. It's like it's no different. It's just maybe a different artist. They don't have Bagley on it anymore, but it's the same thing. But some new number one, so it could do well. But I thought they were going to bring it back to where it was, do like a rebirth, and try to get back all of those characters. Where it's saying, no, we're going to keep Magneto sort of as a leader, and it'll have some irony because Magneto's leading the original X-Men, and it's like, no, like give us. Do something
what
that's.
would you do if you, PD, was the editor-in-chief?
I said I want go.
what would you
If
do?
they were rebranding X-Men, bring it back to the Jim Lee stage, fit in the Fantastic Four
With the 2 teams, with the gold team and the blue
Well,
team, or just one team?
The 2 teams. So you can't get rid of 2 titles. You got to keep the 2 titles.
Right.
So if you want to branch out, I wouldn't say Iceman, but you know, like branch out the 2 titles with the closer to what Jim Lee had. Get the Avengers looking somewhat like the Avengers, and
Which means?
like, you know, Thor, Captain America, like they're all, bring back all the original characters. And if you want to keep doing a female Thor, I know, like, see if you can keep those books and have the real guys in costume. Like, same way, you know, I know Thunderstrike didn't do as well as Thor, but they tried to do, you know, Eric Masterson as Thor, and then they branched them off. Branch off these other characters, bring back the originals, and then you can have both. They might not continue to sell, but
But they won't, because everybody wants the original. For me, and we discussed this before. If you're a DC and you can't sell Superman, that's your problem. That's your gateway. That's your gateway book. Okay, that's if people are
Batman.
reading Superman.
Batman.
I'll explain this. If people are reading Superman, they're reading everything else, because Superman, you're like, okay, this is the light character and so on and so forth. Okay, let me check out a Batman book. Let me see what the darker character is like. Let me check out a Green Arrow. Let me check out this. Let me check out that. That's how it would work over there. When you have Batman, okay, Batman actually funnels you into, okay, let me see if there's some more characters like him. Whereas Superman's like, no, that's your ambassador to the entire DC universe. With Marvel, it's Spider-Man. Okay? If you're selling Spider-Man and Spider-Man's selling well, that means anytime Spider-Man pops up in somebody else's book, okay, that's a good thing. People are coming over. But in order to do that, you have to have the cohesiveness that's necessary in order to bring that in. And Spider-Man is off in his own world right now with very little connection to anybody else that's going on. Everybody's in their own world. First things first, I'll be like, look, can I do a story with there was a story with Spider-Man and Daredevil, and that actually worked. That actually worked. We actually reviewed that a while ago. That actually worked. Can I do a story like that with Spider-Man and any of these other characters? If the answer is no, then okay, this female Thor, she's got to go. I'm going to bring back Thor so I can have that interplay again. Okay, and then it's not like, hey, I'm giving her the heave-ho. What Petey said is right. Branch her off. Let her do this. But then eventually, whatever her fans are, those are going to fall away because, again, people are coming to read Thor. Bring it back to the House of Ideas thing where, look, all of this is interconnected, okay? And then you can have the big stories and everything of that nature, what they did all the time with like the Kree Skull War. Everybody would get on the ship to go fight. Get it. But bring back the cohesiveness that needs to be there and start with your gateway characters, okay? I mean, Superman's selling better than he's sold in years.
But not as much as Batman.
It doesn't matter.
No, they have multiple Superman's comics. They have
when they were doing New 52, Batman was still selling well, but everybody else was plummeting. When they did DCU, Batman was still selling well, but everybody else is plummeting. Now Superman is selling well, and everybody else is selling well too. That's what you want. That's your barometer. It's not Batman. Okay, Batman sells well. Batman is in his own world selling well. Superman sells well. That branches out to everybody else. Same thing. Spider-Man sells well. It's like a web. It branches out to everybody else because you can make those connections.
So
it doesn't work with the other
I
ones.
mean, I hear what you guys are saying, but how would you fix? Let's say the female Thor, probably instead of having her, as a
Get
Thor,
rid of her.
Make her a Valkyrie, so you don't have.
No, because you already have a Valkyrie. You have to get rid of her. She doesn't need to be Thor anymore. But Thor needs to be Thor.
But if she's selling what, 60,000 or 50,000 comics, there's clearly an audience for it.
If you put Thor in the book right now, he'll double those numbers because people are so hungry for him to come back. And then they say, okay, the numbers go back down to 60. Well, she's selling 60 anyway. So if you're going to sell 60 anyway, you sell it with the character who should be in the book.
Well, I mean, you also have to look at it like this. Like, when someone creates a character, and to some extent, you can look at Beta Ray Bill the same way. Because it's like, no
And
other
he has
writer,
a strong fan base, too. There are a whole bunch of guys who would love to see Thor gone and just have Beta Ray Bill come over the
no
book.
other writer comes on and say, oh, I want to use that character instead of Thor. They were like, I want the real guy.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is like, you're already fighting when you're trying to say Bucky as Captain America works, or even Falcon as Captain America. And they're going to be like, the next writer's going to be like, that dilutes the character. I'm bringing Steve Rogers back. That's the thing. It's like you're creating something. You're not going to do it for an arc.
And that's a 10-year period too, because
Yeah,
they did this whole thing with Cap being dead,
Yes.
Bucky being Cap,
Yeah.
Cap finally coming back, and then like literally 10 years haven't gone by. Sam Wilson is Captain America. Captain America's an old man fighting with the cane. Cap comes back. It's two Captain America. It's like enough already.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You got to calm down, okay? And again, for me, focus on. You get Spider-Man popping, everybody else benefits from that because everybody else wants to see what's going on with your gateway characters. But it's not that hard. You can't let these guys just run off and I want to tell the story that I want to tell to fruition if at the end of the day when they're done, it doesn't help you at all.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for once again proving that DC
What have we proven?
Rebirth is slamming Marvel. But your insight is definitely.
Your
insights are definitely.
It's not
helpful.
like we complained. I think when we first started talking about Rebirth, saying that Marvel was doing that, we're saying do new number ones. They did it. They only did it double than I expected. So that's it.
All right. Thank you once again for showing the Spinner Rack. It was a great show. Peace out.